Hello and welcome to a very hot California. I'm here for the Sea Otter Classic to find some of the best bikes on display. We've got big brands, like small brands, and loads of cool, interesting stuff. So without further ado, let's dive into the video.
This is the Sage Storm King. It's a gravel bike and it's kind of a do-all bike. It has a lot of tire clearance. We do a lot of mounts. You can run electronic, you can run full mechanical, you can have a bento bag, extra water bottle mounts. We even do rack and fender mounts on it in case you want to use it for in the rain. It's kind of the do-all bike. It's pretty amazing. All of the tubing it's all US done, all US welded. You know, we do everything here in America. This particular bike is Cerakoted, as well as it transitions to anodizing and then the raw titanium. And this was the Chris King show bike for last year. And that's why we have the custom Chris King B on there. And
So it's a one-off then?
it is.
You can't buy it?
You can, everything's for sale. We can make you one.
And a gravel bike's the most popular category for you?
It has turned into be. Yeah, we started out with mostly road bikes, and then it evolved into gravel bikes as they become more popular. And from there, we've been doing a lot of mountain bikes, both cross country and more dirt jump and downhill specific hardtails. So yeah, titanium is a great material for taking some hard hits.
So this is Giovanni from Fizik. I'm the brand manager. Today we're going to show you some of the stuff that we have just introduced in the range. But of course we have the Adaptive is our 3D printed padding. It offers tailored support, so we have different type of response in different areas of the saddle. So it kind of adapts to the way we sit on the bicycle and in the different riding positions. Now we just expanded the range with Ergon, which is a new shape, and this is a full carbon fiber version. So it combines the lightweight of some of our racing models with the new padding in 3D. Yeah, moving into the shoe, we're showcasing the entire range here. It's interesting that now we are offering also a wide option in many of our road high-end models. So it features like a wider platform, so it's really good for those guys that need additional room, especially on the bottom, but also the upper has been adapted. New options here introduced for adventure cycling and gravel. So this more traditional low cut is called Atlas. Super versatile shoe, SPD as well. Could be good for both trail, cross country and gravel. And then pretty popular in our range is the Ergo Lace. So the Ergo Lace, it's a shoe designed to wear it all day. So it's very good for bike packing, or if you combine riding with some hike bike. Basically it's an hybrid shoe. It's almost like an outdoor approach shoe, but made for cycling.
The Ascent is a bike packing, full rigid, I guess mountain bike if you want to call it that. Ideally, you can take it on single track, rough off-roads. If you want to go bike packing, it has all of the mounts, both on the fork, on the underside of the down tube. Also has fender and rack mounts. So if you really want to get crazy, all seasons, all time of the year. It's also a boost-spaced frame. And again, we're showing off the new Zeta GX Boost wheels here. Also, what's new on this bike is our Corralitos drop bar. Super shallow, super wide, little bit of rise. This is a great handlebar for bike packing, light touring. Gives you a number of hand positions without really changing the body position. So your fit will stay nice and consistent on the bar. We also have our gravel grip on here. Just a nice shock absorbing feature that gives you a little bit more padding than traditional bar tape alone.
Hey, I'm Sam from Cane Creek Cycling Components. Let's dive into some eSilk stem and eSilk post product for you here at Sea Otter 2023. So our eSilk seat post has 35 millimeters of travel, or compliance as we like to call it. It does come in a carbon and aluminum version. It is $229 for the alloy and $329 for the carbon version. This particular post has essentially no downside when you're trying to upgrade from a rigid post. You're going to have 35 millimeters of compliance, but it's only moving when you need it to, and there's really no inefficiency lost. As well, the parallelogram shape here doesn't change the distance from the saddle to the cranks, so you're never really getting that compression like you would on a telescoping post that reduces your overall height. So that parallelogram shape keeps you in that optimal distance from the cranks. The stem has up to 20 millimeters of compliance. It is also $229, so the same price as our alloy seat post itself. This particular product is really easy to change the elastomer durometer for different stiffness. So the elastomer is actually on the bottom of the stem. You do not need to take the handlebars off of the stem to change that elastomer. All you got to do is take this wedge, lift that piece up from that open Allen wrench, and then the elastomer will pop out and you can change it. The stem does come with 2 extra elastomers in the box, one softer, one firmer. We also have the stem available in 80, 90, and 100 millimeter lengths. And one of the best features on this stem is our compliance switch. So you can actually turn the stem to be open and more active, and then turn it to the firm setting, and it drastically reduces the amount of movement so that if you're on the pavement, the stem is less active and less compliant. So being as efficient as possible and then using it when you need to. So definitely a great feature on that eSilk stem.
Hey, I'm Logan. I am at the Ergon booth at the Sea Otter Classic, and we're discussing our all-road collection of products. We have SR All-Road Core Saddle. This is the Pro Carbon version. It uses our BASF Infinergy eTPU, which as a expanded thermoplastic polyurethane works as a dampening agent in between the shell, the saddle shell, and the rider. This is available in 3 different versions. Like I said, this is the Pro Carbon version, so this is MSRP's right at $200, and it starts at, I believe, $150 for the entry-level version of this. The third product we have that's part of our all-road collection of products is the CF All-Road Pro Carbon Seat Post. It uses our VCLS carbon fiber leaf spring design that essentially allows the 2 sections of seat posts to move independently of each other and provide a little bit of movement for the rider. It's available in a 0 setback as well as a 25 millimeter setback. Its MSRP is $300. It's available via Ergon now.
My name is Ryan, I'm with Ventum. We're so excited to be out here at Sea Otter this week. Amazing atmosphere, good people, fun times. It's given us a great opportunity to show off some of our new 2023 products. We launched our updated GS1 gravel bike to my right over in February. A few weeks ago, we launched our newly redesigned road bike, the NS1. And then right here, we have a new product we're really excited about. It's called the ES1G. It is being released in July. It is a Class 3 pedal assist e-gravel adventure bike. It's got the Shimano EP801 drivetrain, which is a Class 3 pedal assist, top speed of 28 miles per hour or 45 kph. Can put out up to 85 Newton meters of torque, 4 different speed settings. We're gonna do a flat bar and a drop bar version, which you see here, paired with the Shimano XT Di2. It's got plenty of mounting points for racks, bags, panniers, etc. Clearance for 700 by 50 tires, and it's just our first foray into the e-bike world, and I think it's going to open up a lot of gravel and fire roads and terrain to people who may not have been exploring it before with a true pedal bike. So we're really excited about this product. I've ridden it a few times. It's fast, it goes all days, and it allows me to explore some terrain that maybe I hadn't seen before. So really exciting times.
So moving on from other bikes that we have at the stand at the Sea Otter today, it's really strange that we show this bike in such a show with such prestigious high performance brands and products on our stand, but this is important to show customers and the trade that we've been making bikes for a long time. The company was only born in 1976, and 10 years later we started making our own bikes. We had to do it. We had a supplier. We only sold external brands at the time, and they said, I'm afraid we're not going to be working with you again. So we said, okay, let's take it in-house. So we started making and producing our own bikes. Those days, steel was an easier material to work with, I think, when you started off. We took the standard tubing, and there's no butting. You took the standard jigs for the headset and for the seat tubes and the angles, and you put a bike together. But it was really great. We had a lot of success from it. We thought, this is great. So moving on from that, we then, over the years, this was 1986, and then toward the beginning of the 2000s, we started working with proteins. We were approached by proteins. We grew as a company, and we had the funds and to do it. So again, this is when we really started pushing the performance side of Decathlon, and we worked with AG2R from the beginning, and we've won stages of the Tour de France with this frame. We partnered with Decathlon, and we've repartnered with Decathlon again, in fact, for our titanium bikes. So we've been in contact with them for well over 2 decades, which is important to support another European company. So this is a key moment for us, this bike, and we work with the old days of time forks and the great time pedals that match the color of the bike. And it's fabulous, really, to see the colors that you used to get on these bikes, and it's just so different. But I think they're a work of art in some ways. I think about when this was, over many years ago. So we started way before this. We then also worked with Cofidis for a couple of years as well. Jan Kripsipu, the Estonian, he was world champion on a Decathlon bike. And we like, once again, using the newer bikes to be world champion again with those bikes. And with our mountain bike range, we want to go to the Olympics in Paris and in LA in 2028, I believe. We'd like to be on the podium.
So racing clearly in your DNA, your roots, go back to your roots.
Yeah, we're going back to that. I think the pro scene's cleaned itself up a lot as well since the early noughties, and there's been a few scandals over the years. And I think let's say it that way, shall we? But I think it's time to get back. I think the industry's, the component brands are becoming more professional. We've learnt a lot. We stepped back a long way from that trade as well, and we've gone back in it now with the bikes. But it's nice to remind ourselves where we started the journey. And this was the old days where we worked with the tube brand was important. Time did all the carbon forks. These are our own rims as well. So maybe watch that space maybe for some rims from Decathlon in the future. That's something we maybe like to do, but that's don't tell everybody. But the tires are skinny. That reminds us where the bike came from. But it's still we're talking about camp bag, great camp bag group set here, and it's great. Bikes have moved on quite a bit, but that bike, I'm sure, put a pro in it, he'll got a good chance of winning even now, I think, and that's a long time ago. So yeah, good times ahead, I think.
Hey, I'm Tom from Hunt Wheels. We're here at Sea Otter Show. We've got some of our hubs here. So this is the Sprint Series hubs that we've had in the range since 2018. We've worked with the suppliers for this hub, a small manufacturing company in Taiwan, family owned, only about 10 or 15 people, but they do some really nice high-end hubs, and we've worked with them to co-develop and engineer several of the hubs that we have in our range now. So these are the Sprint hub, which has 7.5 degree engagement, so you get 48 teeth on the ratchet ring, which sits around these 3 pulls. Each pull's got an individual leaf spring, and each pull also has 3 teeth on it, so it gives you loads of durability, really fast engagement. A lot of other people's hubs are 10 to 15 degree engagement. And then, so the Sprint is on our Carbon Aero disc range, and then as you move up into our aerodynamicist range, you get the Sprint SL, and the main difference is that the Sprint has 6061 hub shell, whereas the Sprint SL has had some work done in finite element analysis by the engineers in Sussex at our headquarters, which means that we can shave down some of the weight, and in the 6066 material that this is made out of can have less material, aluminium material, because it's a bit stronger, about 30% stronger than the 6061. And you can see in these cutaways just the areas where we've kind of reduced the thickness, but also things like the spoke flanges are a little bit smaller. The other things that you can see in here are the EZO bearings. We use Japanese EZO bearings in these hubs, and they're obviously high precision. They cost a bit more, but they obviously improve the durability, but also they reduce the rolling resistance. Another couple of options is on some of the wheels you can have ceramic speed, so you can see the ceramic speed coated, which is used in the Limitless Gravel Aero wheels. These bearing sets, so I've got one here, they're the ceramic balls, but they also have a special ceramic coating on the races, and they're extra sealed to reduce dirt ingress and grime, and they're about somewhere between 600 and 800 pounds or $800 and $1,000 retail for a set of bearings for the hubs, but you get them in our wheel sets in the region of £1,500 or $2,000. So you get quite high-end components there with that. And then the other little upgrade in the Sprint series that you can see is if we move up into the wheels that have the carbon spokes. So the aerodynamicist wheels, there's a carbon spoke option, the UD carbon spoke option, but also in the Limitless wheels there's a UD carbon spoke option, and these have a 70-75 hub, aluminium used for the hub, which again is about another 25% stronger for its to weight ratio, and that means we can machine a little bit more weight out of that. And these hub flanges do have to be a little bit bigger for the carbon spokes, but it means that we can keep the weight down, and that means these wheel sets come in at pretty competitive wheel set weights. So if you're looking at these wheels, they're shaving around 100 grams to 150 grams off per wheel set to move from steel spokes into the carbon spokes. And yeah, this might be quite interesting just to have a little look at the carbon spokes, because these are UD carbon spokes that we use. It's a system made by one of the world's largest carbon rim makers, and we were the first people to bring it to market around 3 or 4 years ago, and we developed some of the key features that we have in our spokes with them, but since then other brands have started using the spoke system. So Cadex by Giant, obviously they're also a big proponent of this spoke system. So you'll see it in lots of places, but the spokes are a fair bit stiffer, so you get more responsive ride. They do still absorb vibration though, because carbon's quite good at that. Obviously carbon bikes have been renowned for being able to do that for a while. But one of the key elements is that we have a T-head carbon spoke to keep it, so I don't know if you can see, you might have to look down in the top. You can see the T-head, that just keeps it from rotating, gives it a really good fitment in the hub. But a really interesting element is these are, whilst they're very strong, so they can when we test these, normal steel spokes fail at about 300 kgf, like a SAP X-ray, whereas these spokes fail at between 450 and 550 kilograms of force, so they're very strong. We've used them in road racing with the Team Quebec at Assos, the Canyon DHB team, for 2 or 3 years, and had lots of crashes, but we don't have broken spokes really going on at all. But if you do want to replace or true the spokes, they're really easy. They've got a nipple that's inside, and this is actually the end of the spoke, and they've got metal parts on the end. And to achieve a really good bond, they actually make a mechanical bond between the end of the carbon spoke and the metal part. And the way they do that, rather than having like an epoxy bond, which some spokes use, or having to bond the spoke right into the rim and the hub, these guys, the way they do it is they actually put the metal parts onto the spoke before they cure the ends of the spoke, and then there's a mechanical cone shape to the end, so it's a mechanical bond in a cone shape at the end, which they hard cure the end of the spoke and then pull the spoke, the nipple, they're not the nipples, the metal parts at the end of the spoke onto the end, and that means you get a really strong mechanical bond. You're not worried about an epoxy that might fail, so that's why this spoke system is so durable. So yeah, it's become quite popular, and a lot of people like it because obviously it saves a considerable amount of weight, and it's not crazy amounts of money more. It's in the region of £250, $350 extra on our wheel sets to go up to the carbon spoke to save that 100 to 150 grams and get the extra responsiveness in the ride. So yeah, there's some key technologies. I hope that's useful.